Hi there, my name is Cupicate, and welcome to our very first WolfQuest Wolf Talk, or Cuppy Talk. I haven't really decided what I want to call it yet, but since we're talking about WolfQuest today, I thought we would call it a Wolf Talk. So I'm sure you're wondering, Cuppy, where is the episode where we see Charm's pups? Well, I'll be honest with you, I don't have it ready yet. And the reason I don't have it ready is because I wanted to have a little more time to solidify the personalities and the traits that her pups are going to have, what they will contribute or not contribute to our story between the Snagglefang, Phoenix, and Ovarian packs. Yes, we have 3 packs going on right now. It's a lot. And so I'm going to take a moment to kind of talk about that and say, like, you only really get to see anywhere between 20 and about 35 minutes of me on video a day. But I can tell you, it's at least an hour per video of recording. The WolfQuest episodes are at least 2 hours of recording for that 30 minutes. And then all of the planning and the story concepts and the character concepts, that stuff is hours and hours and hours of work. That's not even including the artwork, since I do all of the artwork for this channel. So I probably work easily 8 hours a day for 30 minutes of video on this channel just from behind the scenes stuff, because I'm so dedicated to making this story something worth following. I'm even seriously considering writing chapter books about the stories of the Snagglefang pack, the Phoenix pack, and the Ovarian pack as a kind of, precursor and training for myself to eventually write my big book that I've been planning and working out since I was very young, like high school age. So I'm working on that. I can't promise anything, but the initial goal is, yes, I would love to write chapter books of all of our adventures here in WolfQuest and our wolves that we love so much, and we're following their lives. But yes, it takes lots of time, and so for her pups, I have grown them up. I know exactly what they look like, and I have been working very hard on getting them right. Here was the dilemma. So I went on Discord and I asked my community, hey, I need help with these pups, I'm struggling. Also, how do you think we should continue Dawn's line, if we continue it at all? Because she is not going to be the heir since she passed. So should her pups even have the opportunity to have that option? That was one option. The other one that I have, and I genuinely feel this, and you may disagree, I truly, with as hard a time as Aurora had and losing 3 of her pups and losing her mates, and then finding out that Dawn died, I believe she would forfeit her right as heir. I truly believe that. Thinking about her personality and how Dawn had passed, I think that Aurora would look at her father, who had heir kind of thrust upon him since he lost his brother Aspen and Teo. And so she would see that and see how broken he is and how tired he is. He's a very strong wolf, and I wouldn't mess with him by any means. I think all of the turmoil he's gone through, if anything, has made him only more strong-willed. But she would see that, and she wouldn't want it. She wouldn't, genuinely. The way that I designed her personality, she's too passive. She would not have the stuff it takes to lead, and I think in her heart she knows that too. And so, would her pups even want that? Would they have the right to that if she can't even step up as heir? So I had another option where perhaps Mikhail and Kirby try again, and that the other pups from their first litter either don't want to take the heir spot, or they've dispersed and gone their own way. And I have my ideas for who did and who didn't out of that litter. So again, I always love asking y'all's opinions because you make me think of things that I didn't think of. and realize even that there are things that I left out of the story on purpose that might have even been detrimental to a character and how they are perceived. And I'll get back into that in a second. But there is still a certain way I want this story to go. That doesn't mean that I'll never take your opinions. I have already taken many of y'all's opinions on how pups are played, on how the story goes, etc. But there are still some things that I hold close to in my heart and how I believe these wolves should continue their life, should be played, and how it will affect the world around them. So those are like my little sense here and there of how I think Aurora would not take air, and how Dawn not being there, we essentially don't have an heir to the Snagglefang pack. It would be placed back onto Mikhail's shoulders, which is kind of an interesting concept. I'm still not 100% on that. Like I said, this is all, we're doing wolf talks, Cupi talks right here. This is me just telling you what's kind of scrambled around in my head for our precious wolves and their stories and these pups. Now, as for the Phoenix pack and the Snagglefang pack currently in the story, they do know about each other and they have an alliance. So when I say an alliance, it means that in game technicality, the yellow marks that they make is all them together, right? So they're all working together. And like I said in the episodes with Charm, she had Mikhail's help. He would go in and he would help strengthen territory because he promised her in a behind the scenes story that I'm writing that he would always protect her because she loved his brother and he loved her. And so to Mikhail, Charm will always be family. Even though they are not blood, they are bonded through blood that has been lost. And so they have that together with each other. So he's made that bond with her. We have an alliance. Your pack and my pack will never come into fights with each other, and we will help each other if needed. So he made that commitment. Do I think that Mikhail went in and continued to kill Crevice Lake wolves? No, absolutely not. One of the things that was brought up in Discord was that Aspen was the first to kill. He was a very aggressive wolf. He felt like he had to prove his dominance and that he earned the place as heir by chasing wolves out of their own territory and taking it. I never said he had to kill them, only that he had to chase them out and take it for himself. Be the warrior that he was, but not a killer. Until that episode where he passed. He killed 2F, I believe it was. And so in the story that I'm writing behind the scenes, at that point when that happens, and this will all come out later, I'm hoping as an illustrated audiobook. Again, this is months in advance. Art and writing takes so long, so don't get too excited. It will come, don't worry, within this year, probably within the next 3 or 4 months, but I'm not releasing it next week, so. But anyways, yes, he was the first to kill. And did Crevice Lake deserve that? No. But in Aspen's mind, if you watch the video back, you'll actually see they were chasing a herd of elk to try and hunt for their family in Crevice Lake territory. They were trespassing, absolutely. And when Aspen was chasing the elk, Charm got attacked by 2 Crevice Lake wolves. So he had to stop everything he was doing to go back and protect her from them. So in his mind, he was protecting her. In my mind, I absolutely think that. He's like, oh my gosh, my mate's in trouble. I need to go defend her. And we either need to chase off these wolves or we need to leave. Well, Aspen was never one to back down because of his ambition, right? So he went in and attacked. And if I remember correctly, 2F was extremely low. And she did not back off of Aspen until her health was almost non-existent. I think there was only like 4 to 8 bites left before she actually did eventually perish by Aspen's bites. And so in the story I write, when that happens, Charm actually comes up to him in the video and she sits down. But in my story, she sits down next to him and she says, "What have you done?" Because she knows they may retaliate harder. And so Aspen at first is like, I did what I had to. I was protecting you. I was protecting us all. They need to know that they can't mess with us and they need to leave us alone. So in his mind, he's like, I did what was right. But that was really the start of the war right there. If we do have a war at all, that's what started it, was the fact that Aspen, in all of his rage and anger and remorse, like not remorse, but sorrow over losing his other pups, came out against this wolf, and now the consequences for that are extreme. And so at that point in the story, he kind of looks down at the wolf he killed and he realizes, she's right. This could be bad. And so he tells her to go back, which in the game, I accidentally wolfed her to go home, but for story purposes, I think it's cool. Aspen told her to go back and check on the pups because now he was worried that they would retaliate immediately and they aren't there to defend their pups. And if they find those pups, the pups are gone. And so Charm goes back to go to her pups. Now this is the part that I did not talk about. There's a couple reasons for that, and it was brought up in Discord because I mentioned it in Discord, and I was told, well, that doesn't really fit with everything that you said in the videos. They're not wrong, it doesn't. But here's the thing, is that I left this a secret. One, because it makes me look really dark. Two, I was afraid of the judgment. And three, it was also supposed to be kind of a surprise for the future audiobook. And there's another reason I didn't mention it, and I'll tell you now. So when Charm returns to the pups, she finds that they are killed by Crevice Lake. She knows it's Crevice Lake. She can smell them everywhere, just like you can in the game. You can't smell exactly which wolf was there, but you can smell what pack it was. And so she knows that Crevice Lake killed her pups. And then she goes and she runs back to Aspen to tell him, and she finds him dead. And so that is how that whole thing ended. I know that when we played through Charm, her goal was to kill the alpha. The reason for her to kill the alpha was because in her mind, the alpha ordered the death of her pups. So that was that. I never mentioned the pups being dead because I was afraid I would be judged, like, how could you let them get slaughtered? I mean, the dice roll is the dice roll, right? Although I will say them getting killed quickly as opposed to dying of starvation or sickness, I think is almost a cleaner, quicker death than that. But I probably should have mentioned that sooner because I don't want it to look like, oh, well, that's really convenient, you know? But that was always my headcanon, which is why in Charm's episodes, she pushed so hard to take territory, and I kept saying she wants to protect her family. She wants to keep Crevice Lake away from her family. And the reason for that was because she was so afraid of losing her pups to Crevice Lake again. That was really her purpose for taking over Crevice Lake, even though, yes, it was for Aspen because she loved Aspen so much. And I'm not saying that necessarily she loved Aspen more than Caleb, but Aspen was her first love, and there's something special about your first love. And she probably felt a lot of guilt, like maybe she failed him, that she should have stayed to help him, or maybe that they never should have left the pups. I'm sure a lot of that runs through her head of what could I have done to prevent this? And so her whole story arc of the Phoenix Rising series was her taking back that control, essentially, because she lost the control of her life and her family because of what Aspen did, and then the consequences of that with Crevice Lake. And so she pushed them back, like, no, I'm going to make sure my pups don't die from you again. I'm going to protect them, which is why she even went out without Caleb many times, because she didn't want Caleb to suffer the same fate that Aspen did. It was almost like she was willing to die for the protection of her new family than let her family be at risk. Did that infuriate Crevice Lake? Oh yeah, I imagine they're super angry, and their call to war is probably very high as well. Even though they're pushed back, that doesn't mean that they're gonna stop fighting. For sure. If anything, it will get worse. And in some ways, it did. So, there's that. And that kind of gives you a little bit of foreshadowing of what I have coming in the future for our stories of these wolves, with Crevice Lake pushing back now that they've been almost pushed out of their own lands, to the point of not extinction. She only killed the alpha and one other wolf. There are lots of wolves in that pack. I know this because I play multiplayer, and if you go into their home base, there's like 20 wolves. She killed 2. There's still plenty of Crevice Lake wolves left. They've just been pushed out of their homeland. But that is kind of scary for them, and they will push back. So more of that to come, I'm sure. Which I do think is one of the reasons why they ambushed Dawn. If they know about the alliance between the Phoenix Pack and the Snagglefang Pack, why wouldn't they attack a Snagglefang member to retaliate against what Charm had done her entire first litter with Calem? So it's kind of interesting. I have some ideas that maybe Mikhail might even blame Charm to a degree, saying like, you know, I said I would help protect you, but I didn't mean for you to go to war with them, and now I've lost my daughter to your vengeance. It's kind of like they say in, I think it was Game of Thrones, if you take revenge, dig 2 graves. In some ways, that is how it is. Dig 2 graves. If you're prepared to go get revenge, then you might as well dig a grave for yourself or someone you care about, because you're likely to lose both. So, interesting, all speculation. So, I have gotten a couple of questions of several referring to Calem, like, does Charm love Calem as much as she loves Aspen? Would Charm have told Calem the whole truth? Things like that. And so I thought I would go into a little bit of detail about that. I think that she loves Calem differently. Do I think she loves Calem more or less than Aspen? I think neither. I think she loves him differently. And when you experience love for a person, it's interesting because coming from me, this is really hard because I've known my husband as a person in real life since I was 14 years old, but we weren't always together. But I had said through my entire life when we weren't romantically together that he was my soulmate and I was meant to be with him. Even when I thought that I had fallen out of contact with him, like I genuinely did not know how to contact him at some points in my life. And I had told myself, like, I let him walk away and he was my soulmate. I lost my soulmate. I have always said that. So it's hard for me to come into Charm and say, well, you know, if it were me, I would say that Charm might feel that way about Aspen, that Aspen was her soulmate and she lost him. But I genuinely believe that she loves Calem with all her heart. And she loves her babies with all her heart. Family has always been important to Charm. As we remember from the very first series with her as Aspen's mate, she was always about her puppies. She loved her puppies so much. And so for her, I think her love stands more with her puppies than it ever did with her mates, including Aspen. But that being said, at the end of Charm's series, when you see Calem do the shy look away thing, I instantly saw that and thought, oh my gosh, I have the perfect scene for that. Because it looked like he had been fighting so hard to help her through this, almost in a way to gain her love. I think at that point he was like, I need you to be honest with me. And he knows about Aspen. I believe that Charm told him about Aspen right away, but I don't think that she told him about the pups, which is another reason why I didn't mention it a whole lot, because I don't think Charm mentioned it to Calem, that she also lost her pups to Crevice Lake, even though that was devastating. I don't think that she could even admit it to herself, because in her mind, she failed. She 100% failed her babies. And so in the end, in that moment, I think he was like, I know that you've been pushing for this because of your last mate, but there's something you're not telling me. And I think there, after they had finally killed 4F and gotten revenge, that she would tell him that they killed her pups. And that all of this was because she was so afraid it would happen again. And that whole series was her making sure it didn't happen again. And she succeeded. She didn't lose a single pup. She didn't lose her mate. And so in that moment, Charm and Caleb had a very special bond where she opened up something that she had even locked away to herself, but she opened that up to him. And now he understands that this was more than just getting revenge for what was seemingly a mate that got himself into the situation he was in to the point of death. It now made more sense. And so to Caleb, and I'm sure to all of you who may have been wondering this from all along, like, why is Charm fighting this so hard if it was really Aspen who got himself in that situation? He absolutely did. Absolutely. Did he deserve death for it? It depends, you know? I've always said that you're either the good or the bad guy depending on what side you're on. You know, if you ever watch those stories of the good guy and the bad guy, sometimes you see the good guys do bad things for what seems like the greater good. So are they really still the good guy? It does make you wonder, and you look at things differently. And I see that in D&D a lot. Sometimes you have to you have to realize, like, am I about to do this bad thing in order to save the world? Yeah, I am. So, and that happens in these stories too. And we're not always going to have good wolves. I would definitely say that, for example, Teo, I think fundamentally he has good morals and he's a good wolf, but he is going to struggle hard with that burning hatred, and hatred makes you do bad things. I definitely think hatred is what makes and pushes people to do horrible things, and so Teo could go that route. I'm kind of hoping not, because I like making characters that are different, and I don't want to have wolves that are all just like, we're good all the time, ha ha ha, and like, you know, having heroes, because that can get boring, and we're literally playing the same game over and over again. So same thing, same game. Go find a mate, go have pups, try to survive, raise those pups, same game. But I have to make it interesting, and it's not going to be interesting if every wolf is the same. Oh, they're a good wolf, and they're going to raise their pups in the good ways, and blah, 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 blah. Like, people aren't that way. I was not always good. I think I was a horrible teenager. And I struggle with real things like, anxiety and depression, and rage is a big one. I know a lot of you are like, Cupi, I can't see you being rageful. I can. I struggle with rage, and I have a temper problem. And sometimes I like to put my own flaws into these characters because it helps them be more relatable. We always want to relate to a character, and having the good hero character all the time gets old. And so I like the idea that even if Teo goes down the right path, he's never going to be like, okay guys, let's go. You know, it's always going to be a struggle for him. He's always going to second guess. He's always going to have to keep his temper in check if he even can. Which brings me to my next thing of why we're not going to be going into Charm's pups, Dawn's future, and Aurora's future right away. And that's because I need Teo to catch up. So Teo plays a very, very big part in what's coming in the future. Very big. He is a main character for sure as far as the story of our wolves goes. But I need to know what happens in his playthrough to determine how well or how badly this thing goes. And so we're putting Charm and Dawn and Aurora, so the Snagglefang and the Phoenix Pack are all being put on hold. Don't panic. They're coming back. I promise they're coming back. I just need time to make a consistent timeline of how everything happened, what sequence they happened in. I need to make sure that I have good personalities and traits selected for Charm's pups because we may choose from them. We may not choose to continue Charm. I'm pointing over here at Charm, by the way, and if you can see her, I have officially removed her collar. And there's something special to that as well that you will see later when I get back to you with what is happening with her pups and the Snagglefang pack. Again, do not panic. They're coming back. So please have patience. We're gonna have other things in placement of that. I'm going live on Twitch with Dawn's AU, or alternate universe, and we're going to play through her so we can see what her pups would have looked like had they grown up and lived. The 4 that have lived, we need to see what they look like because they may still play a part in future stories, even if they aren't chosen for a current story arc. Because remember, Tower Fall is coming out, and we may want to take one of the pups from all of our series, a true favorite, and play them, and they start their own pack, and then the Snagglefang pack maybe someday may fade into existence, or they kind of go on, but we stop telling their story. I feel bad about that because it started with Kiba, but sometimes we gotta let characters go. And I actually had a community member, Zeta, mention that, and even another community member, Knight, mentioned that as well. It can be hard to let characters go, for sure. I certainly don't like it. I get really attached to these characters, probably unnaturally so. Get so attached to these characters that are just in a video game, pixels on a screen. But there will be times where we have to make the hard choice, like with Dawn, for example. It may come to the point where we're like, well, we loved Dawn, we loved her story, we loved her pups, but maybe that lineage needs to end so that someone else can rise. And that happens a lot in stories. And even though at the time it may seem like, well, I don't want that to happen, if you wait and you give it a chance, the story may turn out better than you think. And so I know that's not necessarily what all of y'all want to hear, but this story, which is the development of myself, my husband, and this whole community, is something that we're growing together. And it may or may not go the way you expect or even the way you want, but if you give it a chance, it will pull your heart in the right ways. I believe that so much, and I definitely hope that you stick with me to see where these stories go. So I'm sorry that we've had 25 minutes of wolf talk rambling. And we could have done this live where I could answer your questions, but I wanted to try and just like ramble this on screen to kind of get some of my points out, my points across. Some of my story ideas, some of my thoughts on how characters would or wouldn't react to this situation, and what my headcanon is. So you can have an idea of where this might go. Maybe you can offer your own perspective. All I ask is that be kind. You know, this is a story that we're all growing with. It is still my story. And I love getting y'all's opinions, for sure. I've used many of them. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I use a lot of them, especially for our pups. But just be respectful of each other, be respectful of me, and have faith that this story is still going to be amazing in a year from now. Whether we are still with the Snagglefang pack or we've moved on, I have a feeling this is going to become something very much special, more special than it already is, bigger than it already is if I can accomplish my goals of making it a chapter book. And like I said, I still want to do more audiobook style videos like I did with Teo's prologue. And if you haven't seen that, I highly suggest you go take a look, because that's really what I want to do with everything that we've done so far. So anyways, I'm gonna let my rambling fizzle out right now, and boy, I can ramble on for ages. Cuppy talk came into Cuppy preach, I guess. But yes, feel free to leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think about what I've said. If you have any ideas, like I said, just be respectful try not to get frustrated if things aren't going your way. Just give it a chance and see where things go. But for now, I will let you know we're putting the Phoenix Pack and the Snagglefang Pack is temporarily going on hold. We're going to do the highlight videos for Dawn's alternate universe essentially on Sundays, so you'll get to see those on YouTube. You'll get to see the highlight videos. And then I haven't 100% decided what to do for Saturday. I was actually kind of tempted to possibly do Seraph's next litter. Seraph at this point in our story is already gone and passed. She's dead. But I still have her as a wolf. I have not played her to age 8 yet. I was gonna do it on Twitch, but I thought since I needed time to not only make the timeline, the story, and the artwork, it might be fun to do a series on her next litter when she's gonna turn 7. Oh my gosh, she's gonna turn 7. So let me know what you think about that. If you think maybe we should have another litter with Mikhail or even Kiba. I was waiting to have another litter with Kiba until Tower Fall, but we could absolutely have another litter with Kiba. She heard her name and so she started moving. Anyways, okay. Yeah, we're at 30 minutes now. I need to shut up. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for listening to my really long rambling. I love you guys. Make sure you give the like button a tickle and a poke. Subscribe to join our family if you haven't already, and jingle the bell to get notified of when these things happen. You're definitely not going to want to miss when I start releasing Phoenix Pack series again, Snagglefang Pack series again, or maybe those audiobooks I've been hinting at for a while. Also, don't forget to join Discord. I communicate really heavily with my Discord community. If you want to be a part of those talks, you've got to join, because that's really the only way that I can talk to y'all every single day is through Discord. And then Twitch, of course. If you want to see Dawn live, make sure you follow me on Twitch and you can see her alternate universe series live and you can talk to me. All right, guys, I love you. Once again, thanks for watching and listening to the Cupi Wolf Talks. And I will see you, let's see, Monday? It will be the next episode of WolfQuest. Yes, that is going to be so fun. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.